What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things related to card games. I have a little bit of a strange video going on today, where I'm kind of procrastinating packing and getting ready for my trip to Stone Mountain, Georgia. Well, we'd be participating in this tournament, the Boyle 8K. There was a similar tournament a couple months ago that I went to. Same place, same venue, same deal. And it was one of the largest competitive EDH tournaments to date. They're doing basically the same exact thing, about 200 players, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for cEDH. And yeah, it should be exciting. And so I won't have time to make a whole video and put something out. So I want to, for kind of like the next couple of things that I had planned for video or content wise. So I figured I would do something just a little bit short, sweet, just kind of talk about, first of all, the event and my plan for it in terms of the deck I'm building, explaining my list and things like that. What deck I'm taking, what my decision to not take other decks, as we'll talk about, and just general discussing those things. Before we get into that, if you do enjoy the content, you find it valuable, it would mean the world to me if you subscribed, left a like, put a lot of work into my content, and also just I have a full-time job, but also trying to schedule my days and weeks so that I can put out a video at least once a week. And so if you enjoy it, if you're liking it, it would mean a lot if you just gave a little like, click that button, and let me know that you are finding value in it. Yeah, let's talk about my list here. So I had quite a couple of decks that I could have run. Obviously, a lot of people probably know me for Fadric, Astral Archmage, what I call Soulstorm, or what a lot of people I hope call it, because that'd be kind of cool. This was the tournament. This was, excuse me, the deck that I took to the last tournament. A lot of people asking for my list, thought it was pretty interesting. A lot of people not being aware of my list, but the one thing that I kind of talked about with some peers or colleagues beforehand was the potential advantage, right, of people not understanding or not knowing my deck, right, not understanding how Fadric works, not knowing the interaction points and whatnot. And there were a couple of things there. Obviously, yes, most people did not know what Fadric did, but I found that at least in pretty much in every single one of my pods, at least one person was aware of what the deck did, and all they had to do was be like, "Hey, that's a storm deck. It's very powerful. Be aware of it. If they don't have Fadric, the deck kind of does nothing," and so on. And so I felt that I actually got very little advantage from playing this strategy or this commander that nobody knew about. Obviously, I did receive a little bit of an advantage. So for one, right, again, even when people were like, "Hey, that someone in my pod was like, 'Hey, that deck's this is what the deck does,' or whatever," didn't always convince people, right, in order to enough to interact with Fadric. So a lot of times in the games where I cast Fadric, early on in the game, it didn't get interacted with in quite the same way. So, as opposed to my local play group that pretty much kills it on site, a lot of my friends, when I play with them, they're very scared of Fadric because they've seen what it can do, which is both, unfortunate, but also is a testament to the power of the deck, which, again, makes me feel good, but, again, going into this tournament did not give me a ton of benefit. So, right, that's the whole thing. So basically, I ended up, I think I won my first game, or won one of the early couple rounds, but after that, wasn't able to receive wins enough to make it to the second day of competition. But I will say afterwards, I had a quick 3-0 victory. Was it 3-0 or 2-0 victory to the in the kind of redemption event that they run for the people that scrub out, basically, and did really well in that event. Made some money back there, so that was really nice. So that kind of gave me some confidence, but not enough to run it again in this tournament. So sorry for people who are big fans of Fadric or who really enjoy it. I was highly contemplating it, but it was just too much. One of the other issues, by the way, in this tournament is that, again, it's an open field. There's tons of people coming from all over the place, playing a whole different kinds of things. So one of the big issues and just kind of realizations or just kind of things that I've had to deal with is the terrible matchup into control decks, particularly Niv Mizzet Perun. That deck, pretty much the matchup becomes, do they cast Niv Mizzet? And if they do, I pretty much lose the game. They either kill Vadrik or have the tools necessary to stop me from storming off, and that's about it. I don't have a lot of tools to deal with them. Right, once a Niv lands on the board, kind of my only way of dealing with it is something like a big Electro Dominance, which is unlikely, or some kind of bounce spell, which isn't great either, against a deck that can probably counter it. So maybe Otawara would be something. So yeah, I have a friend who plays the deck, and pretty much I have been all but unsuccessful in getting any kind of game plan going when that deck is at the table. So that is something that is really hard to see and then say, oop, I'm going to run the deck, because especially, again, at the last big tournament, there were a decent number of Niv Mizzets. There's also Talion, which is seeing more play, which is not the same thing as Niv Mizzet, but is similar in its effect of drawing a bunch of cards and being equipped to stop a deck like Vadrik from doing anything. Cool. So I think I talked a little bit about this. The other deck that I was considering was Narset and Enlightened Exile. Oh, sorry, one last thing, sorry, to talk about Vadrik real quick, sorry. Because this kind of relates to the other decks, which is it is only a 2-color deck, and that kind of limits it quite strongly. Being unable to, being limited to only blue and red cards means, there are certain things, as I said, in terms of like with Niv Mizzet, that I have a hard time dealing with, or just can't do effectively. So that brings me to contemplating Narset. Narset won, or sorry, top 4 at least a big tournament. I think it won a tournament, won something. In the hands of like a prominent content creator of some kind. And so it's cool that this deck has proven itself. I've been working on it a lot, and one of the things that happened was I wanted to kind of re-examine it, because I had played it for a little bit. I had made my own build without looking at anybody else's lists. Looked at a couple of the lists and went, okay, cool, my deck's pretty much the same. Played it out and realized, hey, this just kind of not doing enough, or isn't kind of putting up enough results for me. Then took a look at the list that did really well in the tournaments, and immediately saw a couple of cards that solved a lot of issues that I thought the deck had. So the first big one was Pull from Eternity, which is somewhere. Is it somewhere? It should absolutely be in this list. Well, if it's not in this list, it should. I'm gonna put it down. Hold on. You know what? It might have been in a different. Yeah, it might be this one. No, is that the same list? That's the same list. Nope. There we go. Wait. Hold up. Go away. Come back. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is the updated list that I had seen. So Pull from Eternity, and being a really powerful card, or sorry, a really weird card, but is really powerful in this list, as obviously it synergizes with Narset's ability, but the big win here is that it solves the issue of the Underworld Breach problem. So this deck is pretty much a turbo Underworld Breach deck. It's just trying to assemble the Breach combo as fast as possible and use Narset for recursion. So the issue becomes, right, that I a lot of times would try to do the Underworld Breach thing. Breach would get countered. Then I'd attack, like, a turn or two later, I would attack with Narset and recast the Breach. If that got stopped, the Breach was now in exile, and I pretty much had no way to get access to it again. Pull from Eternity solves that issue. It not only solves that issue by allowing me to get it off of exile, but it also allows me to do it a bunch more times, right? Because think about it, afterwards, Pull from Eternity is in your graveyard, meaning you can then cast the Breach gets countered again, right? You have Narset to exile it again and cast it again. And then after that, You even have Pull from Eternity to go and snatch back Underworld Breach again. So this, just by having having Pull from Eternity in your deck, means that you have a potential 6 casts of Underworld Breach, which is really, really good. And that's not even counting Savine's Reclamation, you know, and all those sorts of things. So really, really powerful card that solved a lot of the issues for me. So after seeing this, I think there were a couple of other things. I mean, you know, some small things like Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, which is not in this list. I don't know why it's not in this list, but that absolutely should be in here. You know, just a couple of other cards that I was interested in, and did, you know, and so I was like, okay, I should revisit this list, and maybe I'll take it to the tournament and play it. Ultimately, again, played it for a little bit, still was not putting up results with it. Again, did and just could not get behind doing that. I guess, sorry, I should also mention the other list that I was thinking of in Malcolm Kedis. I don't know if I have a list here. I absolutely should have a list of it, but maybe I just don't. Weird. But Malcolm Kedis is another list that I was contemplating playing. And again, kind of has the same issues as Vadric, as it is a 2-color deck. And generally speaking, I just kind of don't like the way Malcolm Kedis decks are put together. They play, you know, they play fine, mostly good cards, but then I always see a couple of very odd cards in it that I just can't get behind. So anyways, that brings me to the actual list that I'm running. And I was upset because I was really excited because I thought that I hadn't done a video on this list before. I was going to do a whole video just talking about this list and doing analysis of it. But then I looked back at my previous uploads and saw that I have talked about it. So y'all should be, if you're you know, previous viewers should know about Malcolm Bruce, aka Pirates of America, aka, you know, just Jeskai Pirates, right? Or Jeskai Malcolm. Is going to be the list that I'm taking to the tournament. There's a couple of things about this list, right? Obviously, adding a third color, right? Adding white gives this archetype, right? A whole bunch of added tools. Some of the big ones that I'll note, right? Obviously, is Silence. So Silence is a really powerful card when you're playing in this combo-centric format and just trying to win the game all in one turn. This is effective piece at both protecting your win, right, casting on your turn and comboing afterwards, but also is really good in, again, this tournament setting where someone could just go off at any point and you kind of need the tools to be able to stop them. Silence can absolutely do that. Excuse me. Similarly, Grand Abolisher, right, protecting your wins, right, is very powerful. So I had a game, some testing games the other night, again against my friend playing Niv Mizzet. This card's very difficult for them to deal with. So I went, cast, I was going for my combo, cast Grand Abolisher first. They couldn't counter it. They had only, a couple of things that could maybe counter non-creatures. This resolved, and then they just couldn't do anything after that. So, yeah. So, getting access to these kinds of cards is super crucial. The other thing is added combo lines as opposed to the Malcolm Kedis deck, right? Getting to run, as we've talked about, the Intuition lines with Savine's Reclamation can be very powerful. Intuition also just being a very powerful card to get access to certain kinds of cards can be good. There's also the Spellseeker line for the Underworld Breach combo, right? Getting to Ephemerate for Enlightened Tutor and go off from there. Also with the Final Fortune stuff, right? I'm not going to go over all of these things. I've talked about these lines ad nauseum. Good one, good little joke there for the cEDH people. So I won't talk about that. But there are a couple of changes that have happened to this list, or changes that I've made. Other silence effects in Ranger Captain. That's self-explanatory. But the big one here is the One Ring. Obviously, most people who play cEDH should, or just Magic in general, should know what this card does. Just draws a crap ton of cards. This deck is really good at getting it out early, thanks to mana vaults and the other accelerants. And it also has ways of tutoring it out thanks to Enlightened Tutor. So oftentimes getting to like turn one, mana vault, turn two, Enlightened Tutor will lead to a turn two One Ring, which if left unchecked, pretty much just will put you in a good position. If not, will just win you the game outright. And then the other kind of new additions is well, number one, this deck ran Stifle for a while, and it was always okay. But in this kind of, again, high stakes environment, I really want to make sure that all my cards are as high impact as possible and just always going to be doing something. There's too many scenarios that I can imagine where Stifle will kind of just be a dead card or will be ineffective. So I ended up cutting that, as well as Brainstorm. Brainstorm, was just kind of a relic of the past. Nowadays, thanks to Orcish Bowmaster, Brainstorm is kind of more of a liability than anything. There's also plenty of other effects like Notion Thief that people could be running. And also just, again, Brainstorm is not really the kind of thing that this deck wants to be using for card advantage. It would rather be using Curiosity effects or the One Ring type effects to just draw a crap ton of cards. So with those two cards out, we needed to find two inclusions, and recently came into the possession of Spyglass Siren and a Breaches. I'd been wanting to try Breaches out in these kinds of lists for a while. I just felt like the card was another copy of Professional Facebreaker. I haven't gotten to test the card out too much, but again, talking about it with colleagues or peers, all three effects of this card do something. Right, even getting to turn off a blocker, a potential flyer, a Crom, a Niv-Mizzet, right, potentially, and get in with Malcolm guaranteed is pretty nice. The exile effect, right, is basically the same thing as Professional Facebreaker, right, and then obviously the treasure effect is always going to be good. Another thing that is actually also, nothing to scoff at with this card is that a 3/3 first striker is quite a powerhouse. It can hit your opponent. Your opponent probably will not want to block this. It will probably be able to kill something and survive combat, even through like a double block, given the average power and toughness of cards in cEDH. So being able to just play Malcolm, play Breaches, and you have two powerful attackers that are just going to get you value throughout the game. Should be good. Spyglass Siren is here because it is another one-drop pirate like Siren Storm Tamer. A lot of times this deck does not turn one Malcolm, and so getting to play an early pirate and then cast Malcolm a turn or two later and immediately hit your opponent with a pirate, make a treasure, is a very powerful effect. So wanting another potential way of doing that. And the map token is also nothing to scoff at. Getting to buff up Malcolm to potentially save it from removal, as well as getting in for an additional points of damage when you give it double strike and lifelink with Bruce. Right, all these small increments add up to a really good card, and also again getting to potentially explore a card into your graveyard, or a land into your hand, or whatever. Right, getting to see an extra card will potentially be powerful for just card selection. So yeah, both of these cards earning their slot for this tournament. Again, I'm not saying they're going to be fantastic. I might turn around after this tournament and say, you know what, I don't think those cards were good at all. I'm going to cut them. The issue with these is that they are creatures, right, that don't really do much to interact with your opponent. So there could be situations where I would rather have a counter spell than these, but I think as you can see here, our instant speed interaction is pretty fleshed out, I think. So yeah, so other explanations for, right, this deck as opposed to the other ones is again, it's consistency, right, as we've talked about. This deck pretty much always does something in a game. Just every time I'm playing it, even if I don't have an amazing hand, I always feel like I'm participating in a game, whether it's using my counter magic, setting up a draw engine, or right, casting Malcolm and going for the Glenhorn combo. Right, this deck is always kind of doing something, and so I think that's kind of what I was looking for when I'm going into this tournament. Is right. Again, Vadric is too at risk of just doing nothing the entire game. Very draw dependent, right? Whereas this deck can kind of just, say, land go, counter a spell, cast Malcolm, right? Or things like that. And even its suboptimal draws are still powerful, right? So yeah, that's kind of little bit of why I wanted to do this, or to kind of explain, why I'm running this and not something like Vadric or Narset for this tournament. So I think that's all I want to talk about. I didn't want this video to be too long. I'm already kind of like, yikes. But also, depending on how the tournament goes, I might do a tournament analysis. This is going to come out the Monday after I get back. The Monday in which I'll be like on the way back from the tournament. So, I'm not worried about like people seeing this. I just also can't talk about the tournament because it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it there. I'll potentially talk to you guys after the tournament. If it goes well, if it doesn't go well, maybe I'll do something, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, if you guys have any pointers on this list or any feelings about my decision, I'd love to hear conversations. I know, again, obviously, if people are upset about me not playing Vadric, because I know that's a big thing for me. I do like being recognized as the Vadric player, so I want to keep that going, but for this tournament I'm going to try Malcolm Bruce. So wish me luck, and I'll see you guys in the next video.